Helps if you unmute the microphone. Hi guys, this is Krusty. Welcome to Eclipse Gaming TV and welcome to my FM 2020 series, which I'm kind of dubbing Fish Out of Water, even though it's not really true as such. So we're in 2035 after 14 seasons at Gillingham, including a couple of games. What am I talking about? A couple of Premier League wins. We finally decided to jump ship to one of the two Manchester clubs that were without a boss at the end of the season, mainly out of pressure for our couple of fifth place finishes that we got. And when you're doing that with a very limited budget, when you've won the league twice with Gillingham, with a couple of Europa League wins in there as well, you would expect to at least be left alone a little bit more. I think we finished fifth in that season as well. Plus, it's nice just to throw some money at it after 14 years at a club. Those are the kind of opportunities that you need to take. So that's where we're at. So last time out in the last playthrough, we went through the transfer window, made some signings. Pretty much I have sold some of the better older players and then brought in other good younger players in their roles, some players that fit my system and my style of play just a little bit more. So let's go really quickly to transfer history. It's maybe a little bit unrealistic, the amount of players that came in and went out. It was, here we go, so 501 mil as players bought in, 245 went out, so I spent pretty much the whole budget plus, funded it by sending out some other players as well. But I really like the team that we've brought in here. I think they're going to do a really good job for us going forward. And I made a little bit of a mistake, really. I think making this a stream series, as I'm quite tempted to get in and play it. But never mind. They say the early bird catches the worm, starting the stream at 9:30 on a Sunday. Kind of ambitious as well after a few beers watching the FA Cup final last night or yesterday afternoon. But we're going with it and see how we get on. Big reason for that, the way that the temperatures have been over the last couple of days. I'm expecting that around about 12 o'clock, the last thing I'm going to want to do is sit behind a computer playing games. So this is the time to try and fit it in. Planned to stream last night. That backfired massively. I didn't get home at 8 o'clock. I didn't get home until about 10. And by that point, definitely didn't want to be jumping on and trying to stream anything. But I ran a poll on Twitter for it, and Football Manager and Valorant had a tie. It's definitely too early for Valorant. I haven't had my morning coffee yet, but it's in my hand. So maybe a little bit later on in the day we can bust out some Valorant. Got myself to bronze 3, I think, in my placement matches, which was better than I did in the beta. Stuck in Iron League, I think. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Try and put a bit of time into the game. Still limited, Valorant. A few extra champions, which is nice. Another map or two, which I'm starting to get a feel for. So we've played our first game of the season just to see how the team got on. Got Swansea coming up next. Takeover rumours. Oh yeah, I remember seeing that in the last episode. There was some takeover rumours in the mix. Like, we spent 500 mil on new players in the transfer window this year. So if you want to throw some more money in the pot, then so be it. There's okay, our Scottish left back. Tried to sign him at Gillingham maybe 2-3 seasons ago. I think he was 24, 25 at the time, but the amount of money. And when you're spending that on a left back as well, I mean, left backs in the way that, or full backs in general, in the way that I play Football Manager and pretty much always have, they don't need to be world beaters. If you no, I mean, I tend to want my fullbacks to be able to defend, and if they give you something useful going forward, that's great, but that's not the most important thing. So, you know, I don't need to be spending that kind of money on fullbacks. For a while at Gillingham, I had 3 centre backs, and then 3 central midfielders, and then 4 at the front, and wasn't using my 2 fullbacks. I think I tried that for maybe half a season, something like that, before I threw them back in. Main reason is I had three central midfielders who are probably my best 3 players in the team, and I had to try and get them all in somehow, which was a little bit of a silly situation. I know exactly how it happened. I bought 3 youngsters in, or youngish players in, and they all absolutely rocketed in terms of their development. One of them came in, I think, a season or 2 after the other 2, who had well and truly cemented themselves. But he did the same thing. His stats just went off the charts. So it's always nice to have those guys in there. But trying to make sure that they were all involved and getting first team football, and, you know, playing 3 across the middle seemed like the sensible plan for a while. Cork City in Euro Cup 2. Okay, so Manchester United were in Euro Cup 2 this year because of our efforts at Gillingham. Pushed them into it on the final game of the season, which ended up getting the 2 Manchester managers sacked, allowed me to keep my job, and then I jumped ship to one of those spots anyway. So there you go. So what do I want to show you? So these were my 2 fullbacks, and you'll probably see here they were with me for quite a long time. So Corentin Luakima, probably butchered that, 235 appearances, better off as a right back, but he played a lot at the left back spot for us. And we, in the end, moved him on for £24 million, which seems like a good amount of money to raise for a guy that was 31. A very useful player for us. You know, solid, good tackling, decent marking. You know, quick as well, which is helpful. But he did a good job for us. And then we also had Luke Matheson, currently at Crystal Palace, so we run into him a fair bit. He ended up being Corentin's rotation option for a bit at right back, so didn't play as many games for us, but was again with us for quite a long time, played some games. He also lost out for a little while. We had Trent in, 35-year-old Trent Alexander-Arnold, who definitely isn't my typical choice at fullback with his limited defensive abilities, but did give us something going forward. I also had a 19-year-old that was a central midfielder who I'll show you really quickly, actually. No, it's not Nick Cook. That's not his name. What was his name? This is terrible. It's only a couple of weeks ago since I was at Gillingham and playing this on the regular, so I should know this. Let's find it really quickly. It was Nick. They moved him into the under-23s. Please tell me they haven't moved him. There he is. Nick. No. What's going on here? Let's sort by position. Let's find him. They sold him. So history. Rory Howe, they sold him. No way. Okay, well, oh, he's at Swansea. I'm going to end up potentially playing him next. He played in the league game. Unbelievable. Right, okay. So I'm just going to tell Ian Cox to take that. I don't know what this pre-match... I should, considering the amount of time I've put into Football Manager, but that pre-match tactical briefing thing, I've always just delegated that to an assistant. I don't know how much difference that really makes, you know, if you're setting up your tactics how they should be. Probably a little mistake and something I'm missing out on there, but hey, never mind. Yeah, Rory Howe, the guy I just showed you that's at Swansea and who we're probably going to play against next. I brought him in not as a central midfielder because, as I mentioned, we were stacked at that position and we had a couple of good youngsters who were coming through as well, who were going to be able to fill that role. So we brought him in and I started training him to be a replacement right back to fill in for the two guys who are starting to age out. And he was, I mean, he did the job, to be fair. With him, he had the useful attacking stats. He had the passing, he had the... he had the dribbling ability, that kind of thing that was useful for a central midfielder. The things we had to develop were his defensive positioning a little more. He did have right back as a secondary position anyway, which is why I started on that. He wasn't starting from scratch as such. But, started using him. He was handy going forward. He had the creativity, kind of giving us some of the things that we lost when Trent, I sold him and cashed in and sent him to Chelsea, and he played occasionally for them at age 36 by that point. Okay, so next game then against Swansea. See if our boys playing against us. And does Perez need to slot in? Who have I got in terms of centre backs? I'm still trying to learn the team a little bit. As is against Swansea, let's give Ben Miller a little run out. I signed him as a rotation option. Oliveira here actually, which I didn't realise, his best position is in central midfield, but he's also a phenomenal centre-back at 21 already. So that's the position we're going to use him in and push him towards. Right. I also want my young German Cam. I forgot to put him in the mix last time. In fact, let's start him. It's Swansea. Let's give him a start here. Still in my old habits of saving before the start of every game. Back to the days when things aren't going your way in the game and you don't get the result you want, so you just go and load the save and try again. Won't be doing that in this series. If I can't do the job with Manchester United's players, resources, and that's down to me. I'm sure I signed this guy as a little rotation option. Yeah, I did, from Liverpool for 16.25 mil. How is he going to develop, though? That's the thing. I think I may have shafted this one. Yeah, I've definitely shafted this one. But so Cosenza's injured, but he has got a bit more potential and a little more useful. 3 to 4 months for Frank. But he's right, okay, yeah, there we go. So I've got a fifth centre back. My fifth choice here is going to be playing, but he is a little more of a filler compared to the others. But I had this at Gillingham as well, having a kind of a fifth guy, and generally I've been quite lucky. I've had these guys that haven't been the best, but they've come in and they've done a good job. So hopefully with Ben, he's going to be exactly that for us. Plus he helps us with our English quota. I tend to favour domestic players just as a general rule. I haven't done one yet, but I've done a few series in the past on Football Managers where I go to a club like Harry Richards for his first goal for the season and for the club. It is 17 finishing. And I think it's going to be the first of many for him. I've done a few seasons of Football Manager. I've taken someone like Manchester City with their stack loads of money and then just signed English players, young English players, or the best English players. And before long, the England team was practically made up of Manchester City players who all played together week in, week out, getting regular football in the best league in the world, and that went quite well. It's always fun to do. I don't know how realistic it actually is, but